this is a contrarian hipster take within the fantasy space, right? Because the moment Jim Harbaugh got hired by the Los Angeles Chargers, and obviously he brings Greg Roman along with him to be the offensive coordinator there, everybody kind of consensus view is stock down, in terms of Justin Herbert, fantasy, all this stuff. And I didn't want this just to be an offense take. I wanted to make this a Chargers are going to be better in 2024 than people think, but I just couldn't get there with the defense and especially the secondary, which actually is going to inform a little bit of my take here. So my half-baked take or the thing I want to take shop here is that the Chargers offense is going to be more productive in 2024 than people think. Because again, there's no question that the volume is not going, I don't think is going to be the same as what we've seen previously. You look back at Jim Harbaugh, and I know this is ancient history. I mean, what the hell were you doing in 2011, Nate? I
was a senior at Wisconsin.
Yeah, I was a sophomore, junior at Lynchburg College. So we different life, different life, baby. But again, 2011, Jim Harbaugh's 31st, the San Francisco 49ers, 31st, 32nd, and 29th in pass attempts from 2011 to 2014. I think they'll probably try to play a little conservative and take the air out of the ball more than what we've seen with the Chargers previously. However, I less so care about the volume here. I'm interested in the efficiency of this offense this year with Justin Herbert, because that I think is much more interesting in the Jim Harbaugh era, because you look at net yards per attempt in 2012 and 2013, when that offense I think was firing on all cylinders. 8th in 2012, 10th in 2013. You look at just strictly Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick in 2011, or just Alex Smith in 2011 was 7.1 yards per attempt. Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith the next year when they went to the Super Bowl, 8.3 and 8.0. And then in 2013, still 7.7 yards per attempt in 2013 for Colin Kaepernick. Nate, how many times has Justin Herbert in his career hit 7.7 yards per attempt?
Probably never. He's more of a check down Charlie than people think.
Yes.
What is it?
Never.
0 times?
0 times. 7.5 his second season was his high watermark. So, and I've spent a lot of time watching the Chargers because I've done the show with Austin Eckler the last couple of years, and it's not always been a fun experience watching that offense for a variety of reasons. So I think
you.
Yeah. They did a lot of things that I think are like bait for smart football people, especially last year. They did a lot of pre-snap motion. They did a lot of 11 personnel, but and they played fast. They ran a lot of plays. But in terms of the run game, the tight ends blocking were a net negative. The offensive line was a mess. And yeah, they did a lot of like short passing that boosts your play volume and your passing volume, but from an efficiency perspective, it's not there. So we could start talking about the players and stuff like that, but just from a basis, I actually think with where the league is headed now, we talk about teams going a little heavier. We talk about teams trying to take advantage of under center play action shot plays. I actually think Harbaugh and Greg Roman a little bit are more in line with the meta than some of with the current offensive meta of the league than what we've seen in LA the last few years.
It's almost become a quality to have a non-Shanahan offense because it gives defenses something different to prepare for. And it's just little minor things, but it's an overall philosophy. No, I love this one because I'm right there with you. Don't think this is a top 10 offense or anything, but I think people are acting like it's going to be a train wreck. And I just think, look what their first pick was, Joe Alt. Right away, that is an improvement on this offensive line. I think just by competency of what Harbaugh does and what Roman does, like the offensive line always gets a boost from their offense because they're going to help it out. There's going to be plenty of chip help. There's going to be plenty of, double teams on the outside. There's going to be plenty of heavy stuff with the tight end involved with the blocking as opposed to maybe spread formations and trying to block. They have a freaking fullback on the team. We know what this team's doing. This was one of the things, the Chargers roster building was one of the most frustrating things I since I've been in media that I've covered. Just the overall, the stars and scrub roster building. I thought that they were trying to do a lot of things with a roster that literally could not do it. Even didn't matter who the coach was. So it didn't matter if it was Joe Lombardi or Kellen Moore. Was their tight ends were all terrible blockers. They had Gerald Everett as their tight end one. Gerald Everett's a nice move guy, but you don't want him blocking in line. So right away they had a negative every single week so you had to take plays out of the playbook every week. I mean, they would still try and run them, which was a whole nother issue I had.
Yeah, whole nother
so
thing.
Just getting, yeah, I know. And then even just running back depth behind Austin. I that was one of the most frustrating things I had because, Eckler's not the biggest guy in the world. And he's a really good pass protector. He can catch the ball. You do everything. He's got to take a breather.
I mean, dude, he was coming on the show with me and being like, I'm hoping for and he would obviously say good things about his teammates and Josh Kelly and all that stuff, which
he knows how to do it.
Right, 100%. But he consistently talked about how he wanted that 1-2 punch, which I do think is a big reason that he's in Washington now, because they have Brian Robinson and he can take those he can take the grinder carries and stuff like that. But they never found that guy
ever
in LA, which I think was an issue.
It was frustrating for me because even the guys they went after never, to me, they were guys that were never high on, Spiller, others. But those guys, even if they succeeded, they didn't make sense to me, like as far as what they needed. Like it never, the guys that they kind of were going after, I was like, do you guys know your roster? Do you guys know what you need on this team? It was like, no, let's get another receiver. And it's like, but I'm with you on the defense. Defense we'll talk about at a later date because they're not. I like the defense coordinator a lot. I like Minter a lot. He came from Michigan. He's following Harbaugh. He does some really good stuff. He has some NFL experience and stuff. But offensively, they're going to pound the rock. We know this, but I don't think we should just treat it like a meme. We should treat this like a good thing. This is why I'm a little higher on the Steelers offense too. Exactly what you said. This meta of being burly and being brawling and being just at you runs and beating defenses over the top. That's how you beat defenses now. Everyone's going to blitz you, or they're going to run real soft coverages and make you nickel and dime you. The ways to beat that is you got to gash them or run on them. What this offense is being built to run on you and gash you over the top. So yes, it's not going to be perfect because the receivers aren't all the way there. The weapons aren't great, but they have an identity, and I think they're going to be really well coached. And I think Herbert is good, very good. So right. I think that helps a lot too. I can't remember Andrew Luck's because he came out as a redshirt junior. I can't remember his redshirt sophomore stats because that would have been Harbaugh's last year there. But they'll chuck it, like they'll throw. They have no qualms with if they have a quarterback that can throw. I'm not going to throw the ball a ton with Alex Smith as my quarterback either. So it's, and then Colin Kaepernick was a run first quarterback. If they can run the ball, they're gonna, but he also has Herbert. So I'm curious. Right. I think they're going to have more elements of a more passy offense than I think people realize. So I'm right there. I love this take.
I mean, again, they were pushing it with Kaepernick too. At over 13 yards per completion, in 2012 and 2013.
13 yards per completion.
Again, a feat that Herbert has accomplished 0 times. He's never been above 11.3. So yeah, the receivers are a question mark. Like DJ Chark might be their starting X receiver because that's not. I think they already know Quentin Johnston can't do that. But I love Ladd McConkey. That's a good player. So yeah, the personnel's whatever. But I actually think stylistically, it's a good offense.
Yep, and they're gonna try their best.